All right. So in this session, guys, we are going to talk about something um, about how do we make take greater control of the sections. Okay. So, for example, when we are running this insurance, for example, insurance case type, it's a little slow. Just bear with me. Okay. So we are saying no new customer, and we are providing the customer ID, right? Insurance type, that's all okay. So this is fine. These details are coming from sections. If you open those sections, see, these are all template based. This is template based authoring. This is the best practice. We selected a template from here, that how many columns and how the columns are going to be put into that screen. That is all okay. But sometime you need more control. Maybe you need to do what you need to do is first name and last name coming in same line, email ID, maybe in one line, maybe phone come and date of birth and Aadhaar three coming in one line. How do we do that kind of configuration? Nested things. I mean, this UI placement is quite okay, but if we need to basically innovate into that, or we need to include table, multiple records, how do we do that? There isn't any template always available. So well, how do we do that? We still have to put all of those into the sections. So that's what we're going to learn today. In that process, we will learn about advanced mode editing of sections. We will learn about layout. We are going into UI. Today's discussions. Today we are going to discuss UI mostly. Okay. So we will talk about the layouts and controls and a few more stuffs in further sessions. Okay. Whenever you need that kind of innovation, or not innovation actually, that kind of placement on the screen where there is no template, you have the ability to convert the section into full section editor. Okay. Click on this and it will get converted into another view. Another view where you have more control. See? Okay. Let me save it. So we converted into full section editor. Now there's a concept of layout, dynamic layout. The first thing that we are going to learn is dynamic layout. This is called section pane, by the way. This is entirely called section pane. If I remove everything here, see, I cannot remove everything. There has to be one structural document here. Okay, one of these structural documents should be there. Dynamic layout is a placeholder that we use to group controls. Now what is control? Well, controls are those text input, those back buttons, those email input, those date input, right? Those are called control. Those controls are organized on the screen in certain format. We use dynamic layout to put those controls together. If I want to put a button here, I will not be able to put it outside of a dynamic layout. See, that not directly in the section pane. It has to be in a dynamic layout, or it has to be into some of those structural element. In the structural element, we have the dynamic layout first, we have layout group, we have columns where we create multiple columns like this. Okay. um, we have, I mean, these are all placement options. Okay, we have several options. We have table, we can drop a table as well, right? This is what we are going to learn going forward, and you can embed a section that you have already been doing, right? Embed section works similar to how we did it in the template based section editing. Right. So I'm going to refresh it to get everything together. Back basically. All right. So here basically this one is first name, last name, and all those things. They are all coming into dynamic layout. You see, you can have one dynamic layout on top, and within that you can have multiple dynamic layouts. Okay. Within dynamic layouts are possible. You can configure nested dynamic layouts. Dynamic layouts are container kind of thing, which actually we use to group the controls together. And not only just the controls, you can group basically other structural element using dynamic layout or dynamic, sorry, layout group and all those things. We will learn one by one. So on the dynamic layout, if you open, there are two, three settings that we need to focus on. The first thing is the format of the layout. By default, it's default. Okay, default format means, let me add a dynamic layout. Let me show you that. So I'm adding a new dynamic layout here. Default format, if you put any control here, for example button, and then I put some text input, this is one after other, right? Stacked, basically one at the top of other. This is the feature of the dynamic layout. Default. You have another format, stacked. Stacked also works the same way. It just have a little bit more spacing, one on the top of other. All those elements that you will put, if I save it, preview it, you will see one after other: button, autocomplete, text input. Then we have inline. Inline means every content that is there until the screen is available in that row, it is going to be in the same row. You can continue push multiple stuff here. See, it actually arranges them into same line until there is no other place, then it goes into the second line. Some of these need some property, that's okay, but this is how it's all inline. Okay, it's all coming, basically all those elements are going to come into one single line. That's inline. Then we have something called inline grid double. That means two column layout. Okay, two column, there will be two column, all the elements will be structured one after other, one on top of each other as well, but there will be two element in one row, two element in one row, and equally divided 50%. Then there is triple, inline grid triple, which will arrange three items in a row, 33, 33, 33, equally divided. Then you have option of other, where you can define and you can use other templates available, other basically dynamic layout formats available. We can create our own format as well. For example, simple list is out of the box, it is created, we did not create, it is going to be simple list. So this is the one thing that we needed to understand. I'm going to put it into triple at the moment. Then the container format. Well, container format is something that gives the look and feel of the text, all the element contained within the layout. The layout, um, the layout format gives you the structure of those elements, and container format gives you the look and feel and certain structural element spacing and all those between the element. You can use default one, that's just a white background. You can use your own others as well, other templates. For example, errors will have, let me put it this way, errors will be something like the red. So this gives you the spacing, look and feel of the elements that you are going to contain within the dynamic layout. So this is, these two settings are very important about the dynamic container. You can have action, presentation, all those we will discuss as we go along. I'm going to remove this. Now see, this is what we configured using template. When we converted, this is what we have. So see, you have dynamic layout inline. That means it is going to be one one basically one after other in the same line. Within that we have two see one, this is also structured. Okay, one has 1.1, 1.2. We introduced or we inserted two dynamic layouts there. Those two dynamic layouts, because it's inline, they are coming one after other in the same row. Okay, and within those dynamic layout, in the first one we have stacked, we have stacked, right? And the second one we have stacked as well. So this is coming one after other. Now one more thing, 30%. Okay, if I want to change it, let's say first name last name I want to appear, or maybe title first name last name coming in one row, I can convert this into inline double. So this will be now coming into equal spaces, two equal columns, column width. Then I want the first name, or maybe let, okay, yeah, I want the first name last name and title coming in one single column. This is stacked, so I can insert one more dynamic layout in this. In that dynamic layout I will put title. I can, you can drag it like this, first name and last name. And then this dynamic layout I can change as again inline. So these items are going to come one after other. You can drag it from here to there. Just 1 minute, 1 second. Okay, 1 second. All right. So this way I can embed multiple layout. Now let's say that I want the email, sorry, I want email and phone number coming in one. Okay, so I will insert one more dynamic layout. You will have to be careful about the structure, and you can look at the number. This is one, the overall. Within that we have two, 1.1, 1.2. In 1.2 we have 1.21, 1.2.2. Now in this one I want to have the email ID, and it should be in two columns, so I will convert it into double, right? And phone number, right? And then DOB and Aadhaar can be clubbed together in another. I can use the same if I want to use two column, because this is two are allocated. So this way, right? Now let's see, save it. Okay, and preview it. See, this is how it is coming. Maybe I want to reduce the gap between CID, that is blank. So I can say inline other. There is something called inline. There isn't any. Okay, there isn't any. So we will see how we can actually reduce this gap. So at the moment we have inline grid double. I'm going to change it to inline so that it's occupying the space. It's just basically taking the space that is needed for the CID only. Now let's refresh this case. This looks a little bit more organized. Of course, we can be more innovative about these. We can put them into other structure as well, but it's not very long form now. This information, I mean, first name, last name, how big can that be, right? Smaller. So this is basically how you can use the dynamic layouts to control things. Now, since we and these are controls. This is text input. This is text in. This is drop down. This is text input text. This is date control, right, and all those stuff that we have already been discussing in the template format as well. So this is fine. This is fine. What we get out of the box. If we need to create our own layout format, how do we do that? I might have to do basically a little bit. Changes there what is available in out of the box, and maybe that's not suitable for our requirement. So how do we do that? Well, these layouts and controls and everything are actually UI element. They are controlled using CSS. They all are controlled using CSS. And CSS is code, right? We are talking about Pega being low code. So CSS is embedded or is modified using another rule type called skin. We have skin rule type which we use to control the look and feel. How do we get the skin open? Well, you click on the application menu and click on skin. It will automatically open the skin of this application. Skin is associated with the application. It's application specific rule. So you can click on that and it will open the skin. The other place to open the skin is from the application rule. Just give it a minute. This is the skin rule. How do we change things? I will explain you. Other thing is that you open the application definition and scroll down and you will see the skin here. It's usually created with the same name as the application name. Click on this three dot, basically not dot, lines, and these are the areas where we define stuff. I'm talking about the dynamic layout here. So let's select the dynamic layout. Where is that? This one. So this is the dynamic layout. Click on the inherited. This is all out of the box available to you. Inline grid double, inline grid triple, inline grid quadruple, right? All those stuff. And when you select the, let's select the inline grid double. These are the setting. These are the setting which actually get translated into CSS. You can see that actually. Preview. This is going to open a huge CSS file. So they all get translated into CSS. Okay. Anyway, if you want to create your own, you can click on add new style and define it. But it's not good to create from scratch. It's better to take something as a base and then modify it. So I'm going to take the inline grid double and I'm going to do a save as of this inline grid double. And I'm going to save it as inline grid IMS. Whatever you change that will come into my format. I can actually create my own, right? So this is a copy of at the moment inline grid double, but I can change these things. If I want to change the behavior of inline grid double only for every application, I can override this. If I override this, all the out of the box rules and everything that is using inline grid double, they will all basically take my changes, but I'm not going to override at the moment. I'm only going to create my own so that the base one will still work as it is. I'm going to make changes here. So let's look at the setting of this layout and you can preview it right away. See, you can see the preview of your changes, how it is going to affect. So layout setting, the width, are we going to use the 100% width available? You can give it pixel, em, rem. These are all UI technology terminology or view. Okay, I'm gonna continue use 100%. Maximum width, minimum width if you want to specify. Line arrangement, inline grid or inline. Inline means one after other. Inline grid means that you will have to select how many columns per row. Okay, I'm going to continue with two only. Minimum height, item height 32. So this is the item height. If I change it to 50, the height will change. Okay, vertical alignment, top. So these basically captions or these labels, are they going to be on the top? Currently default, by default it has on the top. Maybe I want it basically in the middle. Okay. Label setting, sorry, this was about basically the space, the control in the space. Okay. Label setting, maybe I want it to be on the left, so these labels are coming now on left. Horizontal alignment, left or right? Yes, probably left. Spacing, do I want to have any space from the box, right? Top 0, left, bottom, or whatever you want to. So let's say introduce, let's say 5 from the top as well. See, there will be space. Then responsive breakthrough. What happens if the screen size decreases? Maximum width 480. If the screen size decreases, I want to convert it into another format, another layout. Maybe we will do it in the stack. If the screen size goes below 480, convert them into a stack format, one on top of other. Okay. Or you can hide some component. Okay, basically this is for mobile devices when the screen is not visible. We will just do stack. We will have everything there. You can add multiple breakthrough as per breakpoint for multiple screen size. Save it. So I have now my own format, my own dynamic layout format. Let's apply that on this one. So instead of inlet, I'm going to use other, and I'm going to select the one that I created, inline grid IMS. The screen size, if it is greater than that, it's gonna basically be coming one after other. If it is less than 480, it's going to come that way. Anyway, let's test it. Okay, this is all good at the moment. Oh, why the columns are not coming?
It's not saved, I think, Mahesh.
Sorry, one second. I did not save it. Saved it. I saved this. Oh, sorry, I did not introduce um, any control directly right here. I have controls within another layouts which are stacked and inline. So inline double is what I have created, right? So I will apply the control here. Okay, good. Breakthrough is on 480. Let's create another case. Breakpoint. This is this one. See, these are applying basically the my format. So the label is not coming on the top, but it is coming on the left. If you decrease the screen size here, sorry, one second. We decrease the size, should be coming one after other. Not coming up, one second. Let's see. The skin stacked, say on 700. minimum bit. Okay, let's test it. See, this is converted into stack now. Okay, which was actually in one line. That's how we control the responsiveness. All right. So in this session, basically at the moment what we learned is during this session, how do we convert a section into full section editor? What is dynamic layout? What is the dynamic layout format? Container we talked about, but we will try to customize container as well in the next session. We learned about how what is skin rule, and we learned about how do we create our own format basically in the skin rule. We did it for one of the dynamic layouts. We used it. We saw how it works. We also saw how that layout can be configured for responsiveness for a smaller device. So if you guys must have remember, you might have remembered in the first session, basically I talked about that it is Pega is about configure once, used everywhere. So you do not have to build screens for mobile separately. You just build it once, right? You control the responsiveness through the layout, okay, and it automatically takes care of. This is where we will conclude this session. In the next session, we will continue this discussion. We will talk about the container. We will modify some containers, right? And then we will talk about other structural element as well, which actually gives us greater control on the screen.